Hello, everyone. My name is Isaiah Ortiz. I major in political science and economics, and I'm going to talk about some of the unique characteristics that I notice while observing economics discourse as a whole. So, it's important to ask, what is economics discourse? Well, economics is a social science which deals with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and the maternal welfare of humankind. One interesting part of this definition, as simple as it is that many scholars engage with this question radically differently and examine different groups of individuals and employ various unique models to perform their qualitative analysis. Famous economist David Ricardo once said that distribution is conflict. Although he was highlighting the conflictual nature between workers and owners being pitted against each other, I believe you can examine this in terms of the discourse of economics as a whole. That economics discourse is in a conflictual nature because of the various schools of thought engaging in constant debate and putting each other out of their jobs academically. Some of these schools of thought include microeconomics, macroeconomics, labor economics, behavioral economics, Keynesian, neoclassical, Marxian, and structural. The literature has a few unique characteristics when I analyzed it. The structure of the argumentation contained an abstract with the short description of the context and insight into the finding, and followed by the introduction, which contained the author's claim, context, and the development of the theoretical models either used previously or that are developed. The primary claims are predicative of the future, finding causation between two variables, or correlation between individual spending, firms, government spending, or what was analyzed in the article. Authors qualify their claims by creating theoretical models to develop their claims by performing experiments, meta analysis, large scale analysis of the literature generally, or just qualitative analysis by themselves. In the introduction, the authors adopted Aristotle's logos and pathos in the three articles I examined. All of them utilize logos and pathos in different ways, but it was still very prevalent. They used it to gauge scholars' interests and also to ask them to devote resources to the issues throughout the paper, which means that results and methodology are highly criticized and it also relies on a logos model where authors can face harsh criticism depending on how they derive their model and their methodology, which can affect the results and can be disastrous if it publicized in contemporary media. In contrast, most abstracts were strictly qualitative, including the finding of the results in a very concise manner to help other scholars engage with the worthwhileness of the article or the relevance of to them. Overall, it speaks to more of an empirical, mathematical tone in the discourse. Authors stay away from non qualitative statements to prevent indirectly damaging their credibility. And it requires deep previous knowledge of the model's mathematical formulas, which can be remarkably different to understand and create an exclusive tone to many outsiders, which also makes that the way you can garner credibility in many economics discourses is the number of citations of either your results, the model that you used, or the quality of your work generally. Like authors like David Carr. So the references that you use, the references that are used for you, or the number of times you're cited, can be highly dependent, highly effective of your credibility. There's a huge jargonized language aspect to economics discourse to make it really hard to understand because there's much assumed knowledge the author has to the scholars or the folks reading the article. It includes a robust qualitative foundation of the literature and assumes, as I mentioned, much knowledge of the reader already. The sentence structure can be very complex. For instance, in one of the articles I read, quote, to study the distributional effects of trade through the expenditure channel, we embed the demand structure into a standard model of international trade under the multi-sector Armageddon model. So to even begin to understand where the sentence would get at is you have to understand the Armageddon model, the previous theories, the economic discipline of expenditure channels and demand structure, which would require micro and macro political knowledge, which are very exclusive to outsiders and make it difficult to understand. Furthermore, it even requires a basic understanding of algebra, statistics, calculus, a grasp of contemporary politics, and even international trends, which is why I really enjoy this picture because it truly displays the interdisciplinary of economics, which authors have to deal with, and scholars and researchers must deal with because of the multiplicity of actors looking at their results. For instance, political scientists looking at it in the context of how it may make implications in terms of human behavior. MSNBC journalists looking at it to post it into the 24-hour news cycle, or even an undergraduate like myself looking at possible research, which makes the discourse and the scholarship and the way that they employ their rhetoric very versatile. In short, economics has a very versatile range of discourse, which includes a very multidisciplinary, highly jargonized, and authors assume very much of the reader beforehand.